Before I begin this video, this is a polite reminder to change your clocks for daylight savings time. There will be a DST changeover video where I change over all of these in a video, which is going to be fun. I can tell you that right now. But for now, there is your one warning. Anyway, greetings viewers, this is CP666 signing on for a video that is very obviously about a pair of Power Macintosh G4 towers. Here's one of them right here. That's what it looks like. And here's the other one right here. These are impressive examples of engineering. They came from Ross. Alright, I got them tonight in exchange for the Lightning PC and the HP, what was that thing? A1320, and there's something equally as ridiculous. Also, I got more power cords than you can shake a frickin' stick at, so I will have more than enough for all of my needs for a long time. And I also, in addition to that, in very ESD regulation compliant packaging, I have got a pair of Hoppage WinTV PVR 150s. And yes, once again, because it comes up every single time I pronounce their name, I am pronouncing it Hoppage, because guess what? Their pronunciation makes absolutely no sense, and I think it sounds stupid. So, you can rag on me all you want, I'm going to continue to pronounce it however I want. Okay, so, what we're going to do is look at each of these individually. So, in just a few seconds, I will have one of them ready for your perusal. Alright, so here is one unit. Now these are obviously nothing special, they're not MDDs or Quicksilvers or dual processor units or anything like that. So there's nothing that's particularly desirable about them, but hey, come on. It's a G4 tower. You cannot resist the opportunity to pick up a marvel of engineering like the Power Macintosh G4 tower. No matter what it is. As long as it works, of course. I mean, I don't know if I'd really be in a hurry to find a broken one. Well, even if it's easy to fix, I suppose. But, nevertheless, so this is just what it looks like. There's a front speaker, which I believe if you have external speakers plugged in, basically turns into a subwoofer. I know it was that way on some of their older beige models. The whole general design of this particular unit takes a lot of cues from the original G3. That would be the blue and white model, not the beige one. This particular unit here has been hot rodded a little bit. You can see it has a DVD-RW drive. Looks like a DVD burner. Yeah, I bet you never thought you'd see one of those in a G4 tower like this. Although I think they were offered with it, let's be fair about it. This is some kind of other bay. I don't know if there would be anything that would go in there or what. There's that aforementioned speaker, power switch, there is reset and programmer, which will get you, I believe, into open firmware, though I think there's actually a key sequence for that, as opposed to using that switch. I can't remember. It's been way too long since I've worked on any Macintosh equipment, even though that is precisely what got me started back into collecting machines in the first place, you know, with things like that iMac G3 350 over there, which has fallen into great neglect, which is kind of sad, but I've got to get that thing out and start using it again. And I have an excuse to, because my Sony Mavic stopped working, so I can use that with my digital camera. That's basically how I imported the pictures on the digital camera. We'll open it in just a second. But you can see that this is obviously one of the older models, just by this texturized thing here, which is actually really cool. Kind of trippy. You know, you look at it a different way and it changes appearance. It's like a 3D kind of thing. 2 FireWire 400 6-pin ports, Ethernet, 2 USB, audio input and output, as well as a telephone modem. We have 4 expansion slots, one of which has got our video card in it. These guys are actually still around, believe it or not. Although they make some dubious claims on their website, like 40 years of Macintosh experience. Yeah, the Macintosh has not been around 40 years. At least not as of the making of this video. The date of which you can see on your screen below. Here's the information plate. see, 450 megahertz, 1 mega cache, 256 megs of RAM, 27 gigabyte hard drive, which is odd, but okay, whatever. Probably, you know, some kind of a RAID setup. DVD RAM. Oh, it did come with a DVD burner, didn't it? Yeah. And a zip drive, which it does not have. As well as what looks like KB for a keyboard, presumably. Remember power supplies that used to have this inverse IEC power connection on it? That was for your monitor. The computer could directly control the monitor. I actually do have a cable for this. I may get it out and use it just for this. I used to use that on my Baby AT-based system. You can see that this one is kind of ajar a little bit. The latch on the back is not in the best of shape. Or the latch on the back. The latch on the side. For the side panel. I picked it up. I was going to use it as a prop for something, because somebody wanted me to use props, and then it popped open just like that and hit me straight in the nose. And it'll serve me right to do that. So, here is presumably where the zip drive would go. It'd be an IDE zip drive. So yeah, that's what this would be for. This one does not have the zip drive anymore. Or, if it ever did have it, it doesn't have it. Yeah, it doesn't have it anymore, because that would certainly have said, it said zip drive, so there you go. I'm kind of tired. It's 11:31. I gotta stay up to do daylight savings time, change stuff. Aztec Custom Power supply. Looks like just a standard ATX power supply, of course, with the exception of that one cord there, although you can get rid of that. That's not really a big deal. And maybe the plug for the fan. I think the plug for the fan is proprietary. At the back here, this fan, which is the cooling fan for the CPU. Doesn't line up with the CPU. That's kind of weird. But I believe that that cooling fan would be for the CPU. Anyway, but I think it's got proprietary connection on it. This is what, a 20-pin ATX? Although again, it might be proprietary. That goes to something, I don't know what just yet, but it goes to something. This right here would be for your airport card. So here's the antenna. Right there. This is for the modem. Again, I'm pretty positive that's for the modem right here. This thing. There's your CPU. Again, it's just a single CPU unit. 4 RAM slots. This thing has got 1.5 gigabytes of RAM, 2 512s and 2 256s. There's another FireWire port right here. There are some of these Tycon capacitors that look like solid caps, but they're actually not, which is kind of annoying to see on something like this. Crystal Audio. Let's see, Lucent. There's a Lucent chip there. Maybe that's for part of the modem. Broadcom, that's probably for the Ethernet. There's an AGP slot there. And 3 PCI-X, I believe is what they call that. There's 64-bit PCI slots. And one of them, of course, has got this ATI video card on it. And unfortunately, it's got one of these crapo fans that tends to last about 5 seconds before it goes bad. I'm not sure if you can see it. I don't have a flip-out view screen. Yeah, there we go. One IDE plug is here, the other one is right here. Unfortunately, it does take these evil batteries. I think if I remember right, I was told this one was good. So I'm going to leave it in there and perform tests, and if it's not good, I'll pull it out. There's a PRAM zapper button right there. And I think that's pretty much all before I get to the hard drives. I believe, at least I've got reason to believe, there's 2 40-gigabyte hard drives in there. One is obviously a Western Digital. I'm not sure what the other one is, but it was probably also a Western Digital, because you can see the jump ring is exactly the same. These, if I remember right, are rated together in RAID 0. Although, I think that's done in software, so that's not a hardware thing, so these ones aren't actually set up. You can see there's actually presumably more drive bays. You could put more drives in here if you really wanted to. But, of course, you don't really need to. I mean, if you put a SCSI board in here, you'd probably be able to do that. But, anyway, so there's 40 gigs. There's 2 40-gig drives in here. And that's how that one is set up. I don't think there's really much else I can think of to say. There's your speaker right there. There's your power control, which is right here on the board. So, close this one up. Just like that. It'll probably still open anyway because that's my luck. And we will go and get the other unit. Here's the second unit. Looks exactly the same, set up exactly the same way. This one, however, has only got a DVD-ROM drive in it. Actually, I take that back. It is a rewriter. I thought it was just a DVD-ROM. So that's not true. That is a DVD-RW, CD-RW. Okay, it threw me through a loop there for a little bit because I couldn't read all of it because it's just embossed into the case. It's not like printing or anything. It's also got a busy light on it. So I'm assuming that this was not the original factory drive because usually Apple didn't put drives with lights on them in these things, but what do I know? So anyway, like I said, it's been a long time since I've played with something like this. After I got the Macintoshes I got, this bedspread is not really conducive to this now, is it? Yeah, I need to get a new mattress. This mattress is like older than time itself. It's not really comfortable to sleep on either. So, anyway, you can see this one's newer, of course. It doesn't have that nice fancy coloring thing going on. It's also slightly different arrangement. There's your modem up there, your audio right there, Ethernet, 2 FireWire, 2 USB. Here's a standard you probably have not seen in a very long time. That is an ADC, Apple Display Connector. Now what that did is, I think amongst other things, it carried the power for the monitor, but I don't remember. It looks like a DVI port, but it is not DVI. So there is that. At least it's got a standard VGA connection on it there. That was one of Apple's proprietary things. After they got rid of ADB, they introduced ADC. They're not completely unrelated, but there you go. Apple's got to have their proprietary standards. And this is a SCSI card. It's actually a narrow SCSI card. But there are no SCSI devices hooked up to it. So that's kind of sucky now, isn't it? This one's actually got 5 expansion slots. And if you look on the back, it's got a newer power supply, which does not have the cutout for the inverse IEC connection for the monitor. So, if you wanted to use one of those in here, well, tough luck. You can't do that. Here, of course, is the data plate for this one. 533 megahertz, 1 mega cache. What does that say? 128 megabytes of RAM. Wow, that's kind of crappy. 40 gig hard drive. CD-RW, so it's been upgraded big time. NV11, no idea what that means. Might be has something to do with the video card. 56K modem, and then something else. Gig E, so it's got gigabit Ethernet on it. So that's cool. Let's go ahead and open it. And here we have the machine opened up. Once again, pretty much exactly the same setup as with the last one, although I think this one's got a 24-pin power connection on it. Airport, 2 IDE connectors. It's got 4 64-bit slots there instead of just 3. It's got 3 RAM slots in it. Although I did turn this machine on, I know what these are running. This one's got 10.4 on it. It identifies 4 RAM slots. I have no idea where the 4th RAM slot is, if it even has one. So that's kind of strange. I don't know how that happened. But it identifies 4. This one also had one of those evil batteries in it. I pulled it out. This one's definitely dead. That's what it measured. It's like negative 1 millivolt, so that's worthless. I've got a battery. I could put it in here. And I may do that because I might, and this one might be the one that ends up in the studio. I'm not sure yet. But I may try the other one, put an operating system on it because it doesn't have an OS on it right now. And go ahead and try that one out and see if I can get that to work. There's a CPU, which lines up with the fan, unlike the other one. And I think that's pretty much it. There's your narrow SCSI board. It's only a 32-bit card, which kind of sucks, but oh well. course, it's a narrow SCSI board, so it wouldn't really make use of the 64 bits anyway. And an AGP video card, of course. So, we'll see. I may put the video card from the other one into this, and put this card into that one, and do something else with the other one, and put this one in the studio. I might do that. Before I do that, zip that one up. We'll go ahead and power these things up. Okay, got it all hooked up. This is the one that I know functions. So we're going to go ahead and push the button on the keyboard. Music to my ears. It comes right on. Both the hard drives. Apple logo. This monitor is really dirty. Should probably clean that up. I had this hooked up to a TV, or he had it hooked up to the TV while I was there and playing around with it. So it's probably running at like some ridiculous resolution, like, what was it, 1920 by 1080? Here we go. Starting macOS. It's a pretty bog standard installation. There's not really much on it. Obviously the CMOS battery is toast. I pulled it out, so it doesn't even have a CMOS battery anymore. So you can go ahead and just have a look here. It is fully up to date now. I ran the updates while it was there. Ooh, that's doing some interesting patterns in the camera. 533 megahertz, PowerPC G4, 768 megs of SD RAM. PC 133, I believe. So we'll open that up. ATA. We've got a DTLA 307045. What is that? 40 gig drive. There's an IC35, blah blah blah. That's another 40 gig drive. It's a slightly newer one. I believe that's also IBM. That was the top drive, yes, that's IBM. And a Pioneer DVD or W. Texas Instruments audio, although I believe I saw a Crystal PNP chip there, so I don't know, maybe that's not what that Crystal chip is for. Bluetooth. No Bluetooth. Diagnostics. Last power on self-test was today. Well, the time is correct. So it said that it was in 2001, yet the time is right. Probably actually because I have the Ethernet cable plugged in. Disk burning, fiber channel, FireWire up to 400. GeForce 2 MX, that's a great video card right there. It's, of course, running at 1024 by 768. This monitor supports more than that. And here we go. There's our fourth RAM slot that doesn't actually exist. Got one PC100 and two PC133s. PC cards. PCI cards. So there's our SCSI board. Parallel SCSI. No information. Power settings. Printers. Serial ATA. USB. So there's our mouse and keyboard. That's pretty much it. And there's no airport card, so there you go. I don't think there's really much else I can think of. You can see there's one disk here. So, yeah, this thing clearly thinks that it's running at a higher resolution than it really is. We'll just go into our utilities, bring up the disk utility. So I can just show you that, there we go. So there's our setup. There's the two drives, and there's the RAID. It's RAID 0. Really never did understand the point of RAID 0 in a machine like this, or in any machine at all, because if one drive goes bad, you lose all your data. Like, I don't really understand what the point is. But it's there. You can fiddle around with it if you really wanted to. Of course, they're locked. You have to unlock it. So, what else? Last thing I think I wanted to do was to fiddle around with the networking or the display. So there we go. There is 1280 by 1024, which is what it's supposed to be. That's the max resolution that this monitor supports. Alright, so that was pretty quick. There's not really much on it, just a very old version of Safari. And very old versions of, well, everything else that's on here. So, I think that's it. I don't have anything else to show you. Thank you for seeing this machine. And I forgot that there was one more. But I have a feeling I know what it's going to do. Man, I tell you what, these things are not lightweights. I mean, they're not heavyweights either. A PS2 would handily beat this thing out, but at the same time, over-engineering at its finest. Ooh, a green light. I can already tell you that this thing's probably going to do nothing, because I was told it doesn't have an operating system on it. Yeah, it should boot me straight into the question mark. If it actually works. Okay. There may actually be something wrong with it. I should get a question mark. Okay, well, let's option boot it. And see what it does in response to that. This video card is kind of a piece of junk. Yeah, if we hold down option, you can see this is our boot menu. We don't see anything, so there's nothing there for this thing to start. So I'll have to set something up. But we'll do that in another video because I actually don't really have time. I've got a Daylight Savings Time special low-end radio episode to prepare for that you will probably not even know about until months later when I actually do manage to get around to editing this video. I definitely noted that the LED on the newer machine was white where this one's green. So I wonder if this one's actually got the green and yellow, or yeah, the green and orange indication on it, which was common on the older iMacs. Or is what it shares in common with the older iMacs and the older Power Macintoshes. So, that's kind of cool. I think these will make some very fine project machines. As to what I actually do with them, well, we're just going to have to wait and see. Thank you for watching. If you have any comments, feel free to leave them down below. And this is CP666 signing off. I'll see you next time. Till then. Oh, wait a minute. Before I do that, let's shut it off.